Some people are born to win. Others are destined to struggle. But what if life suddenly gave you one last chance? On a freezing night, with nothing left to lose, Alex Thompson stumbles upon an encounter that could change everything. But not all second chances come without a price. Alex Thompson sat in his dimly lit apartment, the faint glow of the cracked screen of his phone casting shadows on the walls. The message from his boss was clear. "We're letting you go, Alex. It's not working out." Another job lost. Another failure to add to the long list of disappointments that had defined his 32 years of life. He tossed the phone onto the couch and buried his face in his hands. The weight of his failures felt unbearable, pressing down on his chest like a boulder. He had always been the problem child in his family. His older brother, Mark, was a successful lawyer, married with 2 kids and a house in the suburbs. His younger sister, Emily, was a rising star in the tech industry, already making headlines for innovative work. Alex, on the other hand, had dropped out of college, bounced from one dead-end job to another, and struggled to make ends meet. His parents had long given up on him, and his siblings barely spoke to him. He was the black sheep, the one who couldn't get his life together. As the snow fell outside, blanketing the city in a quiet, cold stillness, Alex decided he needed to clear his head. He grabbed his coat, a threadbare jacket that had seen better days, and headed out into the cold, not caring where he was going. He just needed to escape the suffocating walls of his apartment, the reminders of his failures that seemed to echo in every corner. The snow was coming down harder now, and the roads were nearly empty. Alex trudged through the snow, his breath visible in the freezing air. He was lost in thought, replaying every mistake he had ever made, when he heard a faint cry for help. He followed the sound and found a sleek black car stuck in a snowdrift. A woman, dressed in an expensive-looking coat, was trying to push the car out, but it was no use. The wheels were spinning, and the car wasn't budging. "Need some help?" Alex called out. The woman looked up, relief washing over her face. "Yes, please. I'm stranded, and my phone's dead." Alex nodded and got to work. He grabbed a shovel from the trunk of his old pickup truck and started clearing the snow around the car. After a few minutes of hard work, he managed to free the car from the snowdrift. "Thank you so much," the woman said, brushing snow off her coat. "I don't know what I would have done without you." "Don't mention it," Alex replied, shrugging. "It's no big deal." The woman extended her hand. "I'm Jessica Weston." "Alex Thompson," he said, shaking her hand. Jessica studied him for a moment, her sharp eyes taking in his worn-out jacket and scuffed boots. "You're good with your hands," she said. "Do you work as a mechanic?" Alex laughed bitterly. "Not anymore. Just lost my job, actually." Jessica's expression softened. "I'm sorry to hear that, but you seem like a hard worker. Maybe you just need the right opportunity." Alex shrugged again, not wanting to get his hopes up. "Maybe." Jessica reached into her pocket and pulled out a business card. "Here, if you're interested, come by my office tomorrow. I think I might have something for you." Alex took the card and glanced at it. His eyes widened when he saw the name of the company, Weston Motors. He looked up at Jessica, stunned. "You're the CEO of Weston Motors?" Jessica smiled, guilty as charged. "So will you come?" Alex hesitated. He had no reason to trust her, but something in her eyes made him believe she was sincere. "Yeah," he said finally. "I'll be there." The next morning, Alex stood outside the towering headquarters of Weston Motors, clutching Jessica's business card. He fell out of place among the well-dressed employees rushing in and out of the building, but he took a deep breath and walked inside. Jessica was waiting for him in the lobby. "Glad you made it," she said with a smile. "Come on, let's talk." She led him to her office, a spacious room with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Alex couldn't help but feel intimidated. "Have a seat," Jessica said, gesturing to a chair. "So, tell me about yourself." Alex hesitated, unsure of what to say. "I'm just a guy who's had a lot of bad luck," he admitted. "I've never been good enough for anything." Jessica leaned forward, her gaze intense. "I don't believe that. You helped me last night without expecting anything in return. That shows character. And you're clearly skilled with your hands." I think you just need someone to believe in you. Alex looked down, feeling a lump in his throat. No one had ever spoken to him like that before. I'm offering you a job, Jessica continued. It won't be easy, and you'll have to prove yourself. But if you're willing to work hard, I think you could go far here. Alex's heart raced. This was his chance to turn his life around. I'll do whatever it takes, he said firmly. Jessica smiled. Good. Welcome to Weston Motors. Alex's first few weeks at Weston Motors were grueling. He started at the bottom, working in the maintenance department, but he was determined to prove himself. He worked long hours, asked questions, and soaked up everything he could learn. Jessica kept an eye on him, offering guidance and encouragement when he needed it. She saw potential in him that no one else had ever recognized, and she was determined to help him unlock it. As the months passed, Alex's skills improved, and he began to take on more responsibilities. He was promoted to a junior mechanic, then to a senior position. His confidence grew, and for the first time in his life, he felt like he was good at something. But not everyone was happy about Alex's rise. Some of his co-workers resented him, believing he had only gotten ahead because of his connection to Jessica. Rumors began to circulate, and Alex found himself the target of jealousy and sabotage. One evening, as Alex was working late, he overheard a conversation between two of his co-workers. They were plotting to frame him for a major mistake that could cost the company millions. Alex's heart raced as he realized the danger he was in. He confronted Jessica the next day, telling her everything. She listened carefully, her expression growing darker as he spoke. I'll handle it, she said finally, but you need to be careful. Not everyone here has your best interests at heart. Alex nodded, feeling a mix of relief and anxiety. He trusted Jessica, but he knew he couldn't let his guard down. The tension at Weston Motors reached a boiling point. The conspirators made their move, trying to pin the blame on Alex. But Jessica was one step ahead. She had been quietly gathering evidence, and when the time came, she exposed the plot in front of the entire company. The conspirators were fired, and Alex was cleared of any wrongdoing. But the experience left him shaken. He realized that success came with its own set of challenges, and he would need to stay vigilant. With the conspiracy behind him, Alex felt a renewed sense of purpose. The experience had shaken him, but it had also shown him that he was stronger than he had ever believed. He had faced betrayal and come out on the other side, not just unscathed, but with newfound determination to prove himself. Jessica's faith in him had been the catalyst for his transformation, but Alex knew that the real work had to come from within. He threw himself into his job with a passion he hadn't felt in years. The long hours, the late nights, the endless tinkering with engines and machinery, it all felt like a second chance, a way to rewrite the narrative of his life. One evening, as he was working on a prototype for a new electric vehicle, Jessica walked into the workshop. She watched him for a moment, her arms crossed, a small smile playing on her lips. You've come a long way, Alex, she said, breaking the silence. Alex looked up, wiping grease from his hands. I couldn't have done it without you, he replied. You gave me a chance when no one else would. Jessica shook her head. I didn't give you anything. You earned this. All I did was open the door. You're the one who walked through it. Alex smiled, but there was a hint of sadness in his eyes. Sometimes I still can't believe it. I spent so many years feeling like I was nothing, like I'd never amount to anything. And now, he trailed off, looking around the workshop. Now I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Jessica stepped closer, her expression softening. You've always had it in you, Alex. You just needed someone to remind you of that. As Alex's career flourished, he began to rebuild the relationships that had frayed over the years. His parents, who had once written him off as a lost cause, started to take notice of his success. One Sunday afternoon, he received a call from his mother. Alex, it's been so long, she said, her voice tinged with guilt. We've been hearing about your work at Weston Motors. Your father and I were proud of you. The words hit Alex like a punch to the gut. He hadn't realized how much he had longed to hear them. Thanks, Mom, he said, his voice thick with emotion. That means a lot. His relationship with his siblings was slower to mend. Mark, his older brother, had always been a golden child, and their dynamic had been strained for years. But one evening, Mark showed up unannounced at Alex's apartment. "Hey," Mark said, standing awkwardly in the doorway. "I heard about what happened at your company. That must have been rough." Alex shrugged. "It wasn't easy, but I got through it." Mark hesitated, then said, "Look, I know we haven't always been close, but I'm sorry. I should have been there for you." Alex was taken aback. He had never expected an apology from his brother. "Thanks, Mark," he said quietly. "That means a lot." Just as Alex was settling into his new life, a new challenge arose. Weston Motors was preparing to launch its most ambitious project yet, a fully autonomous electric vehicle that could revolutionize the industry. Alex was chosen to lead the team responsible for the vehicle's mechanical systems. The pressure was immense. The project was behind schedule, and the stakes were high. If they failed, it could cost the company millions and damage its reputation. But Alex thrived under the pressure. He worked tirelessly, pouring every ounce of his energy into the project. One night, as the team was putting the finishing touches on the prototype, Alex noticed a flaw in the design. It was a small detail, but it could have catastrophic consequences if left unaddressed. He brought it to Jessica's attention, and together they worked through the night to fix the issue. When the vehicle was finally unveiled at a high-profile industry event, it was a resounding success. The crowd erupted into applause as Jessica took the stage to announce the launch. She turned to Alex, who was standing in the wings, and gestured for him to join her. "This wouldn't have been possible without the hard work and dedication of one person," she said, her voice filled with pride. "Alex Thompson, everyone." Alex stepped onto the stage, his heart pounding. The applause was deafening, but all he could focus on was a look of pride in Jessica's eyes. For the first time in his life, he felt like he belonged. After the event, Alex found himself standing on the rooftop of the Weston Motors building, looking out at the city skyline. Jessica joined him, handed him a cup of coffee. "You did it," she said, her voice soft. "I always knew you could." Alex smiled, but there was a hint of melancholy in his expression. "It's funny," he said. "For so long, I felt like I was running in place, like I'd never get anywhere. And now it feels like everything's happening so fast." Jessica nodded. "Success can be overwhelming, but you've earned this, Alex. Don't forget that." Alex turned to her, his expression serious. "I wouldn't be here without you. You believed in me when no one else did. I'll never forget that." Jessica smiled. "You're not the same person who helped me that night in the snow. You've grown, Alex, and I have no doubt that this is just a beginning for you." As the months passed, Alex continued to rise through the ranks at Weston Motors. He became a mentor to new employees, sharing his story and encouraging them to believe in themselves. He even reconnected with his younger sister, Emily, who had always been too busy with her own career to spare him much thought. One evening, as they sat together at a family dinner, Emily turned to him and said, "You know, Alex, I always thought you were wasting your potential. But now I see that you are just finding your own path, and I'm proud of you." Alex felt a lump in his throat. For so long, he had felt like the black sheep of the family. But now, he realized that he had finally found his place, not just in his family, but in the world. Alex's story became an inspiration to others at Weston Motors and beyond. He started a mentorship program to help others who, like him, just needed a second chance. And as he looked out at the next generation of talent, he knew that his journey was far from over. The road to redemption had been long and difficult, but Alex had finally found his way, and he knew that as long as he stayed true to himself, he could overcome anything. This extended version adds more emotional depth, character development, and a stronger sense of Alex's transformation. It also introduces new challenges and conflicts, making the story more dynamic and engaging. Let me know if you like further adjustments.